Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your host, Gabriel Romaani. I'm joined again today by my dear respected brothers to discuss the topic of the importance of the Masjid in the life of Muslim. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Ahmed ibn Saifuddin. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Salem and Aamry. And assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Assim and Hakeem. We've covered 2 episodes talking about the Masjid and the importance of the Masjid in the life of a Muslim. We talked about history, we talked about the role of the Masjid in the community. We've discussed some fiqh issues around women and their responsibility towards the Masjid, who can attend, when, how, and so on. And we've also talked about the people who fail to attend the Masjid and their excuses. Let us talk today a little bit about what kind of excuses are legitimate to keep us away from the Masjid. Sheikh Assim, if you do not mind to comment on this.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man ihtada bihudahu. Amma ba'd. First of all, there are excuses that are mandatory upon a person not to pray in the Masjid, not to approach the Masjid. So if a person is in the state of major impurity, major sexual impurity or ritual impurity, as known as janaba, he's not allowed to stay in the Masjid. He's entitled, as mentioned in the Quran, to just pass through if there is no other way around, because sometimes in the old times the Masjid had an entrance and an exit from 2 opposite sides, so people may have needed to cross rather than to go around and waste time and effort. So Allah Azza wa Jal permitted them to pass through, but not to stay in the Masjid. And likewise, and it's an issue of dispute among jurors, a woman in her menses. And the most authentic opinion is that she's not allowed to enter a Masjid. And this goes back to the essence of purifying the Masjid. It was reported that a man, a nomad, entered the Masjid when the Prophet ﷺ with his companions are sitting. The man, he's a nomad. The guy doesn't live in a villa. He doesn't live in a house. He lives in a tent, and he moves from one location to the other, pursuing grass for his grazing cattle. So the man, as usual, and we're talking about 15 centuries ago, this is not today. So this was the norm even in Europe, that whenever you had to go, you had to go. So the guy just had the urge to urinate. Simply, he took a side, gave his back to the people, and started urinating. The companions told him, "What are you doing? The Masjid, the house of Allah, and the Prophet is there, the companions." The Prophet ﷺ with wisdom, and we know that the Prophet ﷺ is so merciful, so kind and wise, but when it comes to things that are haram, that are crossing the lines and the limitations of Allah Azza wa Jal, he would be strong in them. In this incident, the Prophet ﷺ told them, "Hold on, don't scare the man." And this is of the Prophet's wisdom.
Let him finish.
Had them scared him off, he would have scattered his impurity all over the place, and it would be much more difficult to allocate and afterwards clean. Yet, when they left him, it was isolated in a specific spot, and the Prophet told them to put a bucket of water on it, and that's it. And then he called the man.
Also.
Yes, that don't even harm him physically. If you scare him off and he may interrupt his natural process, this might even physically harm him. So he called him and he said, "My nephew." And this is whenever an elder speaks to someone who's younger, he says that you are the son of my brother. These masjids were not made or constructed for such impurities or najasa. they were instructed for, one, prayer, dhikr Allah, reciting the Quran. So this is what the masjid was made for. So the masjid has to be a place of worship. And the reward of that, and this is, again, a footnote. We have so many footnotes.
Right.
There's so many jurors used to have like one line and the rest of the page. And
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
so the Prophet ﷺ, as in the authentic hadith, was asleep when a black woman who was known to clean the masjid, this is her job. She was not paid by the government. She was doing it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. When she died, so the companions buried her. And when the Prophet woke up, and they told him, he got angry. Why didn't you wake me up?
Allah.
Subhanallah, for a slave woman, a black woman, Prophet of Allah, who the narrators of hadith did not even mention her name.
Subhanallah.
Yes, but the Prophet knows her name. Allah, before that, knows her name because she was doing a great service and role in the community, which is cleaning the masjid. The Prophet went and asked them where her grave was, and he went and offered funeral prayer for her.
Allah.
So going back to the original question, a woman in her menses, it's an issue of dispute, but this is the most authentic opinion, not to enter the masjid. A man who is fighting the urge to answer the call of nature. So the Prophet said, what's the use of you coming in the masjid and doing this all the time while the Imam is reciting and you want him to finish? Yahi, this defies the khushu', the role. And this is something between you and Allah. You're not harming others. So the scholars say this is makruh for you to attend the prayer in such a condition because 95% of your khushu' is gone. But there is, and I may conclude with that, maybe the other brothers and sheikhs would like to elaborate a little bit. There is something that is harmful for the others. So the Prophet said, do not enter the masjid. Those who have consumed garlic or onion or kurrath. I don't know what kurrath is in...
Is leek, the leek. Yeah.
a plant, green leek probably, that has a strong smell to it. Those who've consumed it must not approach our masjid. And another justification, he says, because the angels are harmed, but what the Bani Adam, the sons of Adam, are harmed of. And you can cascade this to those who smoke.
That was my next question.
Or come with bad hygiene. People that shower once every blue moon. In Jum'ah, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, he explained to us why the Jum'ah ghusl, the Jum'ah bath, is recommended, and to some jurors it's mandatory, because the Muslims used to work and they had only one piece of cloth. So they used to work in the farm and sweating under the sun. And when they went for Jum'ah, and they went like at 6 o'clock a.m. or 7 o'clock a.m., and they were packed in the masjid, they used to be agitated, harmed by the other odor. It was so strong. So the Prophet ﷺ, it is a right upon each Muslim to make water touch his body at least once a week.
However, if I may,
Yes, sir.
using smoking as an excuse is a problem in of itself. A person is not supposed to smoke to begin with. And if he was indeed having that problem, he should clean his mouth, brush, clean the clothing, do whatever is possible in his own hands to make sure that the smell doesn't come out so it would bother it. And if I...
Sorry to cut you off, but Doctor, if someone brushes their teeth after maybe eating garlic or onions or smoking, does that now allow them to go to the masjid? Or?
As long as the smell is not there. The idea is just to get the smell
Eliminate.
not present when the person is in the company of other praying people around him.
But garlic and onion, the smell comes from your inside.
From inside. Well, that's why Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu said, فَأَمِيتُوهُمَا طَبْخًا. So you can kill the smell by cooking.
Not raw.
So the,
not
so
eating
the
it
hadith
raw.
about when it is raw.
Not eating it raw.
Right, but again, the question comes in, because this is very, very popular question, by the way. Now you have those pills that you swallow and it neutralizes the smell or the problems in your stomach. Is that okay now if you don't emanate the smell and you
Again,
don't.
issue.
if there's no smell,
Yeah.
that's it.
The issue is the smell.
The smell,
If you
okay.
can prevent the smell from coming out,
Naam,
nobody
khalas.
will find it.
That's
khalas.
it, mashallah. We're going to take a short break, inshallah. Great discussion, great points. We have a lot of points more to cover. We'll see you right back here in a few minutes.
Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Thursdays provide.
In Britain, we are facing one big problem, that are you Muslim or British?
The space to talk.
In India, back home, they ask, are you a Muslim first or Indian first? And we Muslims should know how to reply, how to turn the tables over.
The place to knock.
Why Trinity cannot be regarded in that sense, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit?
The opportunity to ask.
But even if we agree that what the Christians say, that he was crucified, so if Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, died for 3 days, who controlled the world? That means even God died?
The freedom to unmask.
So there are various ways which we can prove the argument to be wrong.
Let's meet Dr. Zakir every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 9:30 a.m. India on Peace TV. Peace TV presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world, addressing a sea of spellbound spectators. Over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam with credentials impeccable.
The truth of Islam.
Deen is your way of life.
It is our duty, our obligation.
By following the Quran and Sunnah,
we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
Read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
the Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam.
Wherever we are,
Live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Quran is self-sufficient.
the only book on the face of the globe, the Quran.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Quran.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Next on Peace TV.
Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back. We're just speaking about the masjid and its role in the life of the Muslim. And before the break, we were talking on a few different points, and we ended up with some of the excuses or things that would stop someone from going to the masjid. And we talked about the bad smells that might emanate from the mouth or the body and so on. And we also said that this is not an excuse not to go to masjid. I mean, the real first thing it should be to clean up, and you should go to the masjid. But if someone has done that, then he should stay at home if he cannot clean. The next question that comes in, we talked about women as well, women in the masjid, before we get into anything else that might take us into another dimension.
If I may interrupt you, though,
Okay. Sure,
apologies.
Bismillah.
But see, age has its toll on me. I keep on forgetting things.
MashaAllah.
See, the issue of smoking and onions and garlic, they have something in common, which is do not harm the others. However, they differ when we come to the issue of not praying in the masjid.
Okay.
See, in Islam, and it's an issue of dispute, but the most authentic opinion, does it mean that because I'm not allowed to enter the masjid when I have consumed onions or garlic, that it's prohibited for me to consume them?
No,
Or
very
not?
Good. Yes, very good.
This might confuse people. Say he finds food being served half an hour before the salat and he refrains. Why? Because it has onion or garlic. So I can't eat. No, it's halal. You can eat as long as it's something that is not set. You're not taking it as an excuse. The time is like in half an hour. Bring me some garlic. And I eat it. Khalas, I can't.
However, from experience, you still can kill the smell by something else. For example,
Mint. Mint.
parsley is good. Mint is good. Parsley is even stronger in killing the smell of garlic. I love to eat
MashaAllah.
green onions and raw onions.
too.
And I do eat after it parsley and the smell goes.
And you chew it?
I chew it first because the smell is in the mouth, and you swallow it. So it does both functions, the smell of the mouth and the smell of, if it comes from the inside.
But let us assume that a person does not do this. If you have the smell, or if you ate because you wanted to eat, you love to eat this, and then it is time for prayer and the smell was there, no, you cannot.
However, smoking
is different.
You should stop it.
Yes.
Smoking is haram in
Smoking is prohibited without a doubt. I don't think any reasonable, knowledgeable person in Islam would allow smoking nowadays because it has all these problems, defects. It can kill you. It does harm. You spend your money for nothing. You're just bothering people with the smell. It's terribly bad.
And your kids will pick up after you.
That's why you need to stop it. But nonetheless, if you, for some reason, were even sitting with people who were, smoking, and you could not avoid it, at least, try to refresh yourself. I know there's people who carry with them perfumes, just only to put on perfume before they go into a masjid, or even in the masjid. And so at least you smell good, you look good, and you are in a good situation there.
MashaAllah. Let us go back to the people in the masjid. We forgot to touch upon the issue of children in the masjid. What's the ruling on that? Are they allowed to? Are they not? Should they come? Should they not? A lot of people, why I'm raising this issue, many times in the West, after Salah, because some children will make some noise and whatnot. You'll have some brother standing up in the masjid says, no children are allowed in the masjid. I will stay at the door and not allow them myself to come into the masjid. Don't ever allow children to. So I'm not sure. A lot of people are confused about this. Sheikh Salem, you have any points on this?
Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala man ittaba hudah ila yawmiddin. The topic about the masajid is really vast.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? So the masajid are the best places, as we know now, and they should be active by the musallin. By the musallin. And we know the hadith among those who will be among the seventh, who will be in the shade of the mighty throne of Allah, وَرَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. As a man, his heart is clung and attached to the masajid. The Sahaba, they use وَكَانَ يُؤْتَى بِالرَّجُلْ يُهَادَ بَيْنَ الرَّجُلَيْنِ. One of the Sahabi is so weak, so feeble, he is held by his both hands by two of his brothers until he stands in the row. And only a known hypocrite would leave the Salah. And today, believe me, in the Dhuhr prayer, an old man in the masjid, really, he brought tears to my eyes. He could hardly walk. He could hardly walk. But I remembered immediately the hadith. His heart is clung, attached to the masjid. The hadith of Ibn Maktoum, he said, إِنِّي لَا أَجِدُ لَكَ رُخْصَةً عُذْرًا. There's no excuse for you. If there was no excuse for the blind man, how about us? How about the rest? So this is
So children?
Not only the children, the ruling of the Jama'ah congregational prayer. It's not only Sunnah Mu'akkada, as the majority of the scholars are saying. It is fard.
That's a very good
if
point.
If you don't pray in the masjid, you are sinful. You are sinful. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, لَقَدْ هَمَمْتُ. I was about to set the houses ablaze on fire of those who pray in their homes. But what stopped me? There are women and children. See the threat? It is the threat. And only the hypocrite would leave the Salah.
Question that came to me, sorry to interrupt you. Again, I had the same discussion with a brother. And he was saying that, subhanAllah, his masjid was right in front of his door, about 6 meters from the door, and he would not come for Salah, So we just, after some time, some brothers said, let's talk to him, and just, because he's there, we know he's in his house, he comes out, he goes. So nicely we spoke, but it was a very rude response from the person, but the point was quite valid, so I was not, able to understand necessarily, to respond necessarily. But he said, look, why does then, the Prophet said that in a congregation is 28, but if you pray alone is 1. So how can it be haram if you pray alone, you're still getting a reward. That was his
And
question.
he overlooked this hadith.
Yeah, I actually...
See, that's why when you want to understand the whole picture, the whole ruling, you put all the ahadith together, all the ahadith together, then you will understand. And anyway, this is a controversial issue between the scholars, but this is the opinion of the muhaqqiqeen, those who are checked the issue, and they said this is the strongest opinion. So Muslims should not treat the salah lightly, let alone not praying at all.
SubhanAllah.
Because if you desert the prayer, then you go out of the fold of Islam.
SubhanAllah. Something.
إن العهد الذي بيننا وبينهم الصلاة.
الصلاة.
فمن تركها فقد كفر.
SubhanAllah.
The dividing line between Islam and disbelief, between Islam and apostasy, is the salah. And there was a consensus among the companions on this issue,
SubhanAllah.
on this matter, that the one who doesn't pray, whether out of laziness or he doesn't believe in the obligation of the salah.
ما يتخلف عنها إلا
Munafiq ma'loom al-nifaq. So the salah, Muslims unfortunately are treating it lightly nowadays, when it is the dividing line between Islam and kufr, wal-'iyadhu billah. Though some might argue, well, some of the scholars are saying if it is out of laziness.
This is the problem, yeah.
Okay, out of laziness, he is a Muslim. Okay, but they agreed if he negates and denies, no doubt he is a kafir. So we Muslims should treat the salah very, very serious, because the last words came from the mouths of the Prophet ﷺ. As-salatu wa ma malakat aymanukum. He was reminding the Muslims about the salah, and to take care about their families, their wives, and their servants. Regarding children,
No.
now the children, they were praying in the masjid. Mothers used to come to the masjid with their children. And one night the Prophet ﷺ delayed the Isha, so much so that the children slept. So Sayyidina Umar came telling the Prophet, Nama Sibya. The children slept. The mothers are waiting with their children, Al-Hassan and Al-Hussein, and they were playing in the masjid. When the Prophet ﷺ went to the sujood, he sat on his back. And the Prophet ﷺ prolonged the sujood, so much so that one of the Sahaba raised his head to find out what happened. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, my son sat on my back and I didn't want to spoil.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but a question here, because I used this proof against a brother who was very harsh against me when I brought my son to the masjid. I said, but Al-Hassan was saying we're climbing on the back of the Prophet. And he said, no, you don't know Islam. He said, this is not fard salah. This was sunnah. So from what, I don't know, I believe you said the Sahaba raised his head, so they're praying in congregation, right?
That's why ignorance is a bliss. Okay?
He's very harsh on me, that I brought my son to the masjid. SubhanAllah.
The Prophet ﷺ used to carry Umama, the daughter of Zaynab.
No.
He is the imam, taking the child, and when he goes to ruku', puts the child,
Allah
comes up, carries the child, all this.
Allah Akbar.
And he is the imam. So all these lame excuses people are giving, children are affecting our khushu', because there is no khushu' in the first place. Because if there was khushu',
you don't.
the child will not affect.
Some Sahabas were shot by arrows and they're still praying.
Plus, you need them to learn.
Yes, we teach.
Teach them. If they attend the masjid from an early age,
etiquette,
and teach them time after time, and they see everyone else behaving well in the masjid, obviously you instill in their hearts and in their minds the importance of coming to the salah.
Sheikh, not only this, wallahi, subhanallah, sometimes they scared the child.
Yes.
Oh, the masjid is shouting. You know what effect this will have on the young child?
See, the way I see it, we have to be a little bit moderate between two extremes. Some say, Akhi, bring your children, even if they're like 6 months old, and let them do whatever they want. It's a kindergarten. And some say, no child, except after 10 years of age, is allowed in the masjid. And this is wrong. The Prophet ﷺ once concluded the prayer quickly because a woman carrying her child, the child was crying. So he was afraid for her heart. He never told her, never bring your child again.
Right.
But at the same time, we were instructed to teach and order our children to pray when they're 7 years of age.
No.
So when you bring your 3-year-old and you let him loose in the masjid playing and shouting and fighting and crying, this is inappropriate. I wouldn't say that we have to be harsh or shout, but we have to love for one another what we love for ourselves.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khair. Again, very great points. This is a very important topic, and I think we need to continue, bidnillah, with another episode. Jazakumullah khair for tuning in with us today. Again, this is your host, Gabriel Romaani, and we'll see you on the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.